Pokémon Masters has been out for a while, but there are a lot of sync pairs that aren't in the game yet. We know which trainers would be available later on, but we don't know which Pokémon they would be paired up with. Assuming these sync pairs would have one exclusive evolutionary line per trainer, with a few exceptions, we can predict each future sync pair since we know which Pokémon these trainers use, as well as which of those Pokémon have already been partnered up with another trainer. The only remaining protagonist that has been announced is Calum, who would most likely continue the trend of the protagonists having a starter Pokémon. His manga counterpart uses a chespin, but because Greninja is so popular, the game would most likely include Serena as well, with Froakie. Regarding the gym leaders, the three brothers of the Striaton City gym would each have an elemental monkey to match their respective type specialties, and it would only make sense for each Pokémon to know their respective pledge attack in order for their party to unleash their fullest potential of combination attacks. Sabrina would have Alakazam, her strongest Pokémon in the Saffron City gym, and they share the same ability, being able to bend spoons with their minds. I was gonna say Ms. Magius for Fantina, since Ms. Magius is her strongest Pokémon in the Hearthome gym, but Fantina is also a contest expert, so I think it would be better for Driftbloom to be her partner in order to establish her previous exploits in super contests in addition to battles. Moving on to rivals, Wally would be paired up with Gallade, since his first Pokémon was a Ralts, and although in the original Hoenn games he had a Gardevoir, and Gallade did not debut in Generation 3, the most recent depictions of Wally feature him with Gallade. This would also allow him to be juxtaposed with Diantha, who is most known for her Gardevoir. As for Hugh, he can't use any starters or elemental monkeys, which narrows the list down a bit. In the manga series, he's known to use a Vibrava, Pidove, and Electros, which corresponds with his final team in the games quite well. According to the manga, Hugh was given both Pidove and Tynamo by his grandfather, so there's a sentimental connection between these two Pokémon. On one hand, Electros is fully evolved in both canons, and could make battles interesting if its passive skill behaves similarly to Levitate. But in the games, Pidove has been with Hugh since the beginning, and parallels can be drawn between Hugh and Blue, another rival character, whose partner is an early game flying type, which is why I think Pidove would be the one he would ultimately have as a sync partner. With Silver, he would most likely have his Pokémon partner as the only remaining starter who hasn't been paired up with already, Cyndaquil. But won't Cyndaquil be Ethan's partner if Ethan becomes available in the future? Other possible Pokémon would be Sneasel for Silver and Togepi for Ethan. Sneasel because, like Cyndaquil, it was a Pokémon which Silver stole and would be a nice reference to the manga. As for Togepi, it was entrusted to the protagonist of the Johto games, which would make it a partner equally as authentic to the Johto games as the starter would be. As for Lusamine and her children, I can imagine each of them fulfilling different roles so they could form a well-balanced team. With Lily, it's my logical conclusion that she would play the supportive role, like she does when battling Team Rainbow Rocket as well as in the battle tree. Alolan Vulpix makes the most sense, as it represents both the anime and the Alola region. For Lusamine, Beware is the only one of her Pokemon who made their debut in Generation 7. As for Gladion, Silvally feels like the natural choice, but if the Aether family is meant to be a team, and Beware would most likely be an attacker, that would leave Gladion with Tech. This makes Gladion's most likely partner to be the illusion-making Zoroark. Although Zoroark didn't debut in Alola, Gladion uses Zoroark in the Ultra games, and his outfit also loosely resembles Zoroark. Maybe if there's a Signasuit for Gladion, Silvally could be his other partner Pokemon. Team Rocket is also in this game, and although Houndoom is Archer's strongest Pokemon, Karen already uses a Houndoom, so Archer's going to need another partner Pokemon. And across the main series games, the one evolutionary line Archer is known to use is the Coughing line. For Ariana, the Pokemon she is most known for using is Arbok, Vileplume, and Murkrow. Vileplume is already paired with Erica, and Sawyer has a Honchkrow, Murkrow's evolved form. So that just leaves the female representative of Team Rocket with Arbok, and her male counterpart with a Weezing. Where have I seen this before? Giovanni's most common partner is Persian, which could be a Meowth for the sake of completing the classic Rocket trio, or hopefully with a Signasuit, he could have a Mewtwo by his side. There's only one remaining announced Frontier Brain, and that's the Tower Tycoon Palmer. Excluding his legendaries, Rhyperior is the only Pokemon from his team which represents the Sinnoh region, as well as receiving the most screen time in the anime. Finally, with the professors, Professor Oak and Professor Sycamore could use starter Pokemon, since there are plenty of vacancies available, but I think it would be more interesting to see other possibilities. For Professor Oak, he could use Tauros, like in the cut content for the original games, or Kangaskhan, like in the manga. Both are normal types, which would rival Agatha's ghost types. But the better Pokemon might be Nidorino. During Professor Oak's introduction to the world of Pokemon, he uses Nidorino to demonstrate what a Pokemon is, as well as Nidorino being used in the opening sequence to Pokemon Red as it battles a Gengar. Following this pattern, that would leave Professor Sycamore with Skiddo. But won't that not be possible since Gogoat is a signature Pokemon to Ramos? That would be true, but Ramos' partner isn't Gogoat. Maybe the game creators planned further ahead than we thought. So these are my predictions for the future sync pairs in Pokémon Masters. Let me know in the comments which combinations you agree with, and which ones you think might be a bit too far-fetched, as well as any other Pokemon you think would form a better sync pair with these trainers instead. I'm interested in hearing other perspectives on this subject.